Hello there. How are you doing this week? How are you doing with the course and with all of these tasks, the to-do list on your homepage showing what's coming? And notice it says here survey. This message is to check in with you, but I'm also checking in with you on a formal level by having you do a survey of how things are going. So here in Module 8, the fin de siècle and the early 20th century, there should be a little accent aigu there, or accent grave, but couldn't figure out how to get Canvas to do that. That's okay. Survey, 15 points. This is a way to sneak in a little extra credit, as it were, meaning there's nothing that I'm asking you to do that's taxing. I'm just asking you to get 15 points for telling me a little bit about how the course is going for you and what you need. So this comes very deliberately at this point where, first of all, art is going insane as we enter the 20th century. But more than that, in terms of your life story in this course, you're moving toward doing your capstone project, your culminating project. So I want to make sure you've taken a look at this and that you are looking carefully enough that you can send me any questions that you have about doing it, because it's worth 75 points and it is meant to be a culmination of all that you've learned. The term capstone comes from architecture. It's a synonym for keystone. Basically, if you're an architect using stones to build an arch, you stack them up, getting closer and closer, and then you need this capstone, this keystone, to create pressure that holds the two sides together. So this project is meant to be a bringing together of the skills that you have built into a solid form. The module pages written by you, and that's tied to this really important activity of going to a local museum to see art in person. There are many to choose from. This is just a partial list. Some of you may not be in the San Francisco Bay Area, and there will be others on your list. But let's say you are in the Bay Area and you go to the Legion of Honor. They will have artworks that relate directly to what you're studying in this current module on the early 20th century, like this Redon pastel, but they will expand what you've learned, because this is made out of pastel. We haven't talked a lot about that medium, which is almost, if you will, a dry paint, where you have a colored chalk, but not a harsh, dusty chalk like a child's chalk, a very voluptuous chalk used to create your strokes. So they have galleries of European painting, for example, that will take you up close with a Rembrandt. Remember when you first got introduced to Rembrandt with Simon Schama? Well, there is a Rembrandt face staring out at you, and you can see it in person. That's the idea of this project. What does it mean to actually see this artwork in person? Not in a photograph, not on the screen, not in a film, a video about him, but its physicality. There is also a Monet. There are, in fact, many Impressionist paintings that relate to what you've been studying with your work on Impressionism. And as I say here, if for some reason you can't go to a museum, whether there are financial constraints, logistical geographic constraints, or whether there are other reasons such as, COVID caution, you have options to see things in other places, including outside. So I am going over this right now in order to really plead with you to look through this project very carefully now and start planning. Because you have video guides to help you understand it, but you need to plan your visit and do your visit well before the first week in December, and it will be due on December 10th. We're looking ahead now to our final month, 6 weeks of class. And you're looking now in our current week at these incredible artworks. So mind-boggling, so experimental, so extreme in their desire to make the world new. These are artworks that you can see at San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. I don't mean these exact ones. I should qualify that. I mean Cubist artworks, abstract artworks from the early 20th century and the decades after. So at this point, be very aware of time. I'm always putting the schedule on the homepage so that you can see what's happening this week, with just a discussion this week, because Cubism is so crazy and abstraction is so different that we need to really take the time for you to absorb this and reflect on it together. And then you'll have another discussion about another avant-garde movement, and we'll be moving ahead decade by decade, and you'll want to be focusing on your capstone project.